Alright, for number 67, they gave you a combination of angles to use. In this case, 315 minus 30. And you have to find the sine, cosine, and tangent of that angle. So here is the, start off with sine. Here is the sine formula right here. Sine A minus B. And so all you have to do is evaluate each individual trig function, here, here, and here, here, and simplify. So notice here, I know in the answer key it has the negative right, oops, the negative right here and then a plus right here, because they factored out the negative. You could, or you don't have to, you could if you want to. I would accept this answer right here. Okay? Cosine 315 minus 30, same thing. Here's the formula. Here are the individual trig function equivalents, and then you just simplify these two, combine, and this is what you get. For tangent, for this problem I went ahead and I used the formula. So for tangent 315 you get a negative 1. For tangent 30 it's radical 3 over 3, and then denominator, here's what you get. Now I'm getting rid of the fraction within a fraction by multiplying by 3 over 3, which is 1. Distributive property, here and here, here and here, and then here and here, and then here and here. Excuse me, gives you this right here. Okay? Now, I take the conjugate of this and multiply it top and bottom. So here it is. This is the distributive property for both the numerator and denominator, step by step. And so I know that this is 3. And I also know that this is 0. Those two cancel out. So what you're left with is negative 9 minus 3 is negative 12. And then these two combine to this. And then the 9 minus 3 is 6. I factor out a 6 from the numerator. And so now this cancels. That's a 1. And so your final answer is right here. Okay? Alright, 69 is similar to 67. They give you guys the two angles to use, except now they're in radians. And here's the formula for sine A plus B. Evaluate each trig function, and then simplify, and here's what you get. For cosine, the cosine one, here's the formula. Again, each individual trig function. You simplify this, and this is what you end up with. And this time for tangent, what I did was I took the sine value over the cosine value. You see that right here. And the 4's cancel when you do that, right? Because they have that fraction over fraction. And so you're left with this. Whoops, forgot to change it to pointer. So the conjugate of the denominator is this one. So notice how top and bottom are the same because this fraction has to equal 1. Distributive property, top and bottom, right here. Radical 12 is 2 radical 3. So there are 2 of them, this one and this one, so that makes it 4 radical 3. And this is 2 and this is 6, so negative 2 minus 6 is minus 8. This cancels, and then 6 minus 2 is 4. So that's the 4 right there. I factored out a 4, cancel, and I'm left with this. I think in the book it shows it backwards, like negative 2 minus radical 3, but it's the same thing. For 71, 73, they want you to rewrite it as a sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle. So this one follows the sine formula, sine A minus B. Why minus? Because of that. So sine of 45 minus 60 is negative 15. You can leave it like that, or use the even out properties and take the negative out, and so it would be negative sine 15 degrees. So either one is fine. 73, this is definitely a tangent, A plus B. So tangent 25 plus 50 is tangent 75, and that's all you do for that one. For 75, 77, 79, they gave you some information. So they told you that angle U was in quadrant 1 and angle V was in quadrant 3. That was given to you. And that information along with these ratios help you find the missing piece on the triangle. So that one and that one. So here's sine U plus V, the formula. And again, just replace each trig function here with its number, its ratio, and you just simplify. Okay, and there's the work right here. Multiply, multiply, and then add together. Because that's a negative, that's why that's a negative right there. Okay, and then reduce. For tangent U minus V, here's the formula. And again, I go back to, for tangent of U, I go here, y over x and y over x. So here you have the values. Now what I did is I multiplied both by 21 over 21 to get rid of the fraction over fraction. And so when I distribute here, this 3 goes into 21 7 times 4, 28. 7 goes into 21 3 times 24 is 72. Then I distribute here, and I get 21. And then these two cancel with the 21, so then I'm left with 4 times 24 is 96. Combine all this, and you get this. For cosine U plus V, here's the formula. Here are the values. And then we simplify. So you get this to write it as a single fraction. And then 75 over 125 is 3/5. 81 through 85 are all verified. So on 81, I'm working on the left side. And again, this is cosine A plus B. So that's what you see right here. Remember, with cosine, the sign changes. So it went from a plus to a minus. Now, cosine of pi over 2 is 0. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. So here we cancel this term, and you're left with negative sine theta, and you're done. 83 is similar. You use cosine A minus B, and so here's the work. Cosine of 5 pi is negative 1, and sine of 5 pi is 0. So then this term cancels out, and you're left with negative cosine of x. Okay, 85, I'm working on the left side. I broke up the 3x into 2x plus x, and so use the cosine A plus B, is right here. Okay, now notice that the right side has no double angles, it's just single x on both terms, right? So I'm going to have to break this up and break this up. So here, this one, I used 2 cosine squared x minus 1, and for this one, it's 2 sine x cosine x. Distributive property right here, and then so here it is, distributive, oops, sorry, wrong page, there it is. So you have cosine, so when you distribute here, you have this over here, and then I combine these two right here, the 2 cosines, and notice how I wrote 2 cosine right there because of that cosine, and then the sine times sine is sine squared x, so I replace sine squared x with 1 minus cosine squared x. So I kind of skipped that step because I ran out of room on the page here. And so you distribute the negative 2 cosine here and here, and you get negative 2 cosine x plus 2 cosine cubed x. And if you look at these terms right here and these terms right here that you get, you combine them and you get your final answer, which is this one right here. Okay, when you combine all the terms on this side right here, all of these, you combine them together, and that's 85. For 87, we're solving the equation for x. So here's sine A plus B and sine A minus B, and so I color-coded it. So the first one is here, and the second one is right here. Notice I put a bracket because there's a negative in front of that term, so there's a negative there, and I put a bracket, okay, to make sure I include that negative in that whole term. So cosine of pi over 2 is 0, so that's why that's cancelled out. And over here, there's another cosine pi over 2, so that one's cancelled out. Now I distributed the negative, so minus, and then when I distribute the negative here, it becomes a plus. Sine pi over 2 is a 1, so that's here and here. And so now I have cosine x plus cosine x equals radical 2, so that's 2 cosine x equals radical 2. Divide by 2 and you get this equation. And so that means that x is pi over 4 or 7 pi over 4. Okay, so that's the answer. For 89, they tell you the ratio, sine u is 5/7, and they give you the quadrant. So I went ahead and I drew it, used Pythagorean theorem to find this side right here, the x value, which is square root of 24 when you simplify 2 radical 6. So sine 2u, here's your formula. Here are the values that you replace the trig functions with, and then you multiply and you get this. Here's cosine 2u. Again, here's a formula. Here's one of the 3 formulas. You could choose any one of them. And here are the numbers, the ratios that replace the trig functions. When you multiply it, here it is. And then it's negative 1 over 49. For tangent to u, I did sine 2u over cosine 2u instead of the tangent formula. The 49s cancel, and you're left with negative 20 radical 6. And then last but not least, right here, number 91. This is given to you and the quadrant, so I went ahead and I drew it. So I'm missing the r, so it's negative 9 squared, 81, plus 4, 85. So the r is square root of 85. Sine 2u is here, the formula, with the numbers, the ratios, and so you get this as your answer for sine 2u. Cosine 2u, here's the formula right here, and then cosine u is negative 9 over square root of 85, 2 over square root of 85, you square them, and you get this. Okay, and then tangent to u, I just took sine 2u over cosine 2u. Again, the 85s are gone, and you're left with this. Now back on sine u and cosine u, I did not rationalize the denominators because there's no need, because the radicals are going to cancel out anyway. Okay, and be left with 85. So there's no need to rationalize because I'm still going to multiply here and I'm still going to square here. Okay, and that's it for this homework.